Hey folks, my name is Bill. I'm a developer advocate here at Rerun, and I want to talk to you about 5 ways to connect your robot to Rerun. Let's go ahead and get started. The first way is by direct streaming. So this is going to have your laptop. It's going to connect directly to the robot, or really, I guess, the inverse, where your laptop is running a server and the robot will be able to connect to it from there. Um, and basically, it is great for real-time debugging, development. It's pretty simple to set up. And you are limited to a single viewer, but that can be really great for a single or individual robot. The code here is pretty straightforward as well. We're simply just going to set up the server and be able to connect to it. The next one is local file logging. There really shouldn't be any surprise here. This is all over the Rerun documentation, but basically you'll run and log to an RRD file, the file format that Rerun runs, on local storage, and you can get that data afterwards, either by downloading it directly off the robot or having a USB drive that you can unplug. It's great for when you're off of a network, live connections aren't going to work, that sort of thing. The code, obviously, as I said, it's sprinkled throughout the documentation, so it's pretty easy to follow along. So the next version is really like a centralized relay server. And this is where you'll have an independent server that's running the Rerun server, and the robot will connect to that in order to log data, and subsequently laptops are able to connect to that centralized relay server so that they can access and run the viewer and be able to see the data in there. And so the robot will stream this data to that single dedicated device. You can have it so multiple people can connect, the viewer, and obviously that offloads some of the network burden for the robot. It does add a little bit of a layer of complexity, but to be honest, it's pretty straightforward to get up and running. And so the code here that will run and operate the server will connect to it from the robot, and then subsequently on the laptop, we can actually be able to connect to it. So that's way number 3. Let's jump into way number 4. It's really similar to the relay server, but what we're going to do is we're actually going to run some sort of computational overhead or computational power off the robot. So this is great when you have super fast network and you don't want too much, say you need to offload a bunch of GPU computation from the robot to a more centralized server. So you're really offloading that heavy processing. This one, to be blunt, isn't where I would start. It's a pretty niche exercise. I'll include some example code, but it's going to involve setting up a couple of different servers, sending code around, so on and so forth. And so moving right along to the next one. This one is super quick and dirty to be able to get things started. You'll run the viewer on the robot and then be able to connect to it over the web. So this is where the robot itself will host a web viewer, and we can connect to basically that via the robot's IP. And so it's super simple. It's self-contained. It does put a bunch of computational load on the robot, but it's a great way to prove things out. And naturally, the code here is going to be pretty straightforward to follow. Again, this isn't where I would, you can do this, but it's not where I would start. I think that there are simpler ways. And so that really rounds out the 5 different ways of connecting Rerun. One is, basically it all boils down to where you're running the clients, where you're running the servers, and how you're actually able to connect those, and whether something like multi-tenancy is important. And what I would really recommend, certainly for those getting started, are really the first way, right? The direct connection, the local file logging, and then the relay server, because I think that those are really going to be able to round out the majority of the different ways that you might want to connect. And so with that, look forward to seeing what you build. Take it away.